So this is looking good. Make sure the chat's on. So let me just pop up the video clip. Okay, so welcome to evidence-based audio engineering and education, I guess. Number 120, and this is JBL are Goopers. Yeah, not thrilled. They really are. So you guys might have seen all the stuff lately about all the amplifier guys and they're complaining about the gooping of amplifiers. You know, the first time I remember something like this is actually, sadly, was Lee Jackson. I had a Metaltronics head, and I could never get anybody to work on it because they said that he had epoxied over all the circuits so nobody could read it, and that made it so you couldn't fix anything because you didn't know what you were supposed to fix. So, yeah, but this is another gooping. Okay. Let's see. First of all, let me pull this stuff up here. We are at... Okay. I know there's other stuff coming out right now, but let me see. I went and bought the bass expansion pack for Bias Effects. Can you find a page that really says what's in any of these packs? Here's a store. I mean, I've been looking. So here's a metal signature pack. It says craft devastating metal tones with signature artist amps and effects. Which effects, which amps? The bass collection pack. Their bass expansion pack. A versatile collection of the most sought after bass stomp boxes. So this has it has a really good Sans amp kind of thing, like the bass overdrive type, and then it has some other kind of Sans amp looking thing that I'm not exactly sure who it is. And then it, but you know what it doesn't have? Let me see. Was it Mocha Fix? I think it was Mocha Fix. VST. Let me see. Mocha Fix. Yeah, so Mocha Fix had this one. I don't know how good it is, but I used it. I liked it. It's called No Amp. And this one has the, yeah, I know that there's a bass-specific Sans amp thing, but this is the one that okay, you guys, a lot of times we talk about the MIDI, like the silver Sans amp that we used on the Dawkins album. That, there's one called PSA, it's free. It's a free VST that really covers that one perfectly. But this is the one we used to use back in the day. I know you guys on Instagram can't see this, but it was the Sans amp, the original Sans amp. It's like a pedal, and it had speaker emulators on it. And this one's not in the bass effects expansion pack by Positive Grid. This is a pretty good one, though. It's free. I would go grab it if I were you. Mocha Fix, MOKAFIX audio. It's over at Bedroom Producers blog right now. That's where I just found this one. It's free, so go grab it. But I really do like I know I'm a glutton for punishment. I love the Positive Grid stuff, or at least I love the Bias Effects stuff. That's what I use for the most part. I know we have some performance issues and stuff with it, but it's really what I like. I made like a dual amp path. Actually, neither of them is using an amp. One is just a compressor and some EQs, and the other one is a compressor and the Sans amp type of thing. And I'm really liking it. Sorry, I know there's some other stuff coming out, so that'll probably change. But I think this is $40 or whatever, well spent. But I would like them to give you a, tell us what's in these things. It'd be nice to know before you buy this stuff. Let's see. Let me find that PSA VST real quick so I can show you. Oh yeah, that's what it's called. The Soft Amp PSA. So sorry, you guys on Instagram again, you can't see this, but it's the Soft Amp PSA, and it's a free one. It was made for a developers challenge on KVR, I think. I'd go grab this. It's really good. He added a couple things to it. This like a compressor thing, but there was some other stuff that this guy makes. Let's see the projects. He's got the Fender Frontman 25R emulator, soft drive, the Marshall Governor, and I don't know, Soft Amp GT. I'm not sure what that is. Analog guitar amplifier simulator stop box, Soft Amp 30D. I don't know. He's got a bunch of free stuff. I tried this Flextron thing. It was it says virtual analog guitar amp made for KVR Developer Challenge DC14. Hybrid guitar distortion pedal. Anyway, there's some cool stuff on here. And okay, what else we got? Oh, okay, the Fredman digital. You guys always talk about the Fredman technique. I'm sorry, but I don't know who this guy is. I know everybody talks about this. The guy I think he's a producer. I think you guys know the Fredman technique of the where's my mic clip, where you put the two mics in like a 45-degree angle or something, pointing it to each other in the cone. He's the guy. I think maybe he did the In Flames sounds. I really like those In Flame albums. Probably more about the writing, but he's got whoever. So there's a Fredhead guitar amp plugin, and it's an amp sim. It says Windows version will be available June 17th. Fredhead, the guitar amp sim that crushes all others, is here. We spent the last 3 years emulating and compiling 3 decades worth of guitar tones, and it's now all available in one single simple to use plugin that will make you more efficient and get great and unique guitar sounds faster. Maybe Glenn Fricker had this on his channel. I wonder who makes this. Like, for all I know, Alex over at Audio Assault. I wonder if I can ask him if he did this. Like, who made this thing, right? I bet you if we have a really good look at it, we can kind of tell. Because, these these plug-in makers, they kind of have a style to them, right? Who does this look like? It's very hard to tell. I wouldn't be surprised if this were Alex. I'm going to ask. So it's 120 euros or 119 euros. I don't know what that is in American dollars, but it's a little pricey. It's probably not as much as the top end of Bias. I don't think it probably doesn't have much on it. It's looks like an amplifier and nothing else, which is fine. I mean, if you want an amplifier. I wish, Revolver has a VST loader, so you could put a VST plug-in anywhere in your chain if you want a better amp or a different amp. I wish Bias had a VST loader in their chain, but anyway, this is interesting. Could be good. I think a lot of people who are really into this stuff, they'll probably just end up buying it just because. Anyway, okay. So the Gear Save Space thread is still going. The one about where I had to ask if somebody had some evidence for their, I'm going to say it as usual, religious claims about. Let me go back to the original, the beginning here. So let's see the beginning of the thread, just so you know what I'm talking about. I think we talked a little bit about this thread last week, but I was more concerned with the tube versus transistor thread. But this one, it's pretty interesting as well. So he says, hello, it says the original post. Let's see, let me kill that. There's the original post. Sorry, I was getting a phone call. Let me get back to the chat. Hey, everybody in chat line. Hi, everyone. I've been following this forum forever and remember posting here back in the day. Anyway, I was following another thread about the ethereal fight between analog and digital emulation. I think I came up with a good analogy. You are a chef at a restaurant and you are making a meal for your customers, the mix. You can either use more expensive fresh ingredients, analog gear, or a bunch of dehydrated powders and chemical additives, plugins. Like modern plugins, some food additives can improve the result in better ways than the old school methods, I'll give you that. But if you're telling me that the emulations sound the same as the original hardware, it's like saying a dish made with garlic powder has the same taste as one made with fresh garlic. Just because you don't hear the difference doesn't mean it's not there. What do you guys think about this? Does this at least clarify the ethereal dilemma? So, of course, here's another one of those guys who just does it crap all over digital or whatever, or DSP for that matter. And, my normal response to this kind of thing is if we were to ABX between these things, I bet you can't hear the difference. So, just because you can't hear the difference doesn't mean the difference isn't there. That could be true. But if you can't ABX between them, who cares, right? And we talked before about files that completely null, and people still think that they're different, So people are crazy. Let me see what did I do in this thread. Let me see. Sorry, I'm just gonna check this real quick. I can't remember why this thing is popping back up for me. Didn't sign any documents. Anyways, let me get to the response then that actually mattered. I'm sure I snarked in here something about an ABX test somewhere, but there was a claim. Let's see. Let me get back to it. Sorry about this. Yeah, you guys on Instagram, you won't be able to see any of this. Oh, okay. So here's my contribution to this thread. As usual, somebody had claimed that it was plain as day and they don't need to test it. And what do you say? I spent 25 years working with both tape and Pro Tools in New York. Much of my work was working on a 2-inch 16 track, so it was mine. Let's see. There was no point when the digital playback sounded exactly like the tape. The output of the studer was multed to both the patch bay and the 16 channels of conversion. There was always a period of mourning. Always. Every time. The beautiful 16-track experience we built through the afternoon was always smaller and less three-dimensional than when we did the Pro Tools playback. Every time. I'm willing at this point in my life to accept that perhaps I'm strange or simply old or simply wrong, but my perceptions and experience, I got a big clientele, I'm cool. Anyway, he made a lot of claims here, and I said, did you ever measure any of this, or perhaps have some files left over so we can try to determine the difference, or did you just take it on faith? And he says, I'm 54. I was lucky enough to get a little record player when I was 5, blah, blah, blah. Argument from a antiquity or something. So he says, I don't need to test this. Let's see, where did he say? I find the concept of measurement apocryphal in audio. There you go. If you're afraid of actually testing something, and here's the old, it doesn't live on a piece of paper. You can't measure sound. You can. You can measure if things are different. That's what we're talking about here. They're claiming to hear a difference. So saying, yeah, there's faith. So, of course, what else can I possibly say? But pretty much the same justification dowsers give, even when they fail to find the water. And that's really what it is. Another one that's scared of measuring. We know what this stuff is. It's real. So all that babbled out. Let me find the number here. Count number 234. Because we're now talking about somebody who should know better, but possibly has a vested interest in muddying the waters a little bit. Sorry, let me find the right page. 234. Okay. So somebody posted, well, obviously it's different, and I'm going to tell you why, because ATR Magnetics. These guys make tape, or do they make heads? Let me see what they're making. I think, didn't ATR make heads? Oh, they're making tape. Sorry. Okay, ATR Magnetic is making tape, and I'm gonna read what they're saying here, and yeah, we're gonna our detectors are gonna go off, I hope. If you want to join, just click on the link in the thing, and I'll probably let you in. But anyway, so this is from ATR. These guys sell tape. No bias there. Oh, bias. Oh, well, there's a pun. Nothing sounds like tape. Why does music recorded on analog tape so good? Begging the question right off the bat, right? But whatever. That's kind of okay. To understand why a professional tape recorder provides the most lifelike reproduction revolves around a couple of important factors. The key lies in the inherent technology of the tape itself. Audio tape in use during the 50s and 60s provided approximately 65 million magnetic particles per second of recording a quarter-inch format at 15 inches per second tape speed. Each magnetic oxide particle or group of particles takes on either a north or south orientation after exiting through the recording head. Starting to sound like a digital bit stream? Well, yes and no. However, there's one huge difference between analog tape recordings and even the best digital recordings. And here comes that word you guys have seen way too many times. Resolution. The highest digital resolution today offers 4,608,000 bit switching per section. Not bad. Big improvements over the standard Redbook CD, but it is not even close to sub-micron particle resolution of ATR master tape. Random particle stacking. Quarter-inch 2-track ATR master tape running at 15 inches per second involves approximately 80 million oriented and randomly stacked particles per track second. It's not just the particle count, but the random stacking that turns this super binary resolution into pure analog playback. This is why even a narrow track width recording still sounds so detailed, despite the lower surface area. Music is an intrinsic part of the human soul. Okay, prove we got souls. It plays to our emotions, it talks to us, it calms us, it makes us rise to our greatest accomplishments, and brings back our warmest memories. Why not record it on the best medium to achieve the best quality of sound? So, wow, right? Somebody had something nice to this Joe Q. We've had him, talked about him on the show before, actually. I kind of enjoy his posts. He says, what a load of crap. Or somebody else said, what a load of crap, and he's agreeing. He says, indeed, 2003 called. Sorry. They want their myths back. Let me break in here for a second. If you don't know how digital audio works, we've talked about it on several shows before, but I'm happy to talk about it later, not on this show, but we can talk. I think Monty, that Ziff video, that's an okay one to watch. It doesn't work quite the way these guys talk about. I mean, they used to talk about magnetic particles on a photograph, like the resolution of a photograph. It doesn't quite work that way. You can have more bits and not really get more accuracy in any way that matters, and more sample rate. I mean, we've had that sample rate war for how long, right? That's not really the way you're gonna determine these things after a point. But let me go on with this. 2003 called. They want their myths back. I thought this one was long dead. So sad to see people still pushing this. And this is the company ATR we're trying to look at as an authority here. He says, when I was a kid, I had this toy, Woolly Willy. And I think you might, I don't know, if you're pretty young, you may not have, but back in the day, we used to have these toys where you would take like a magnetic pen looking thing and you would draw, you would just kind of draw on a surface with it. In this one, he says, you used a magnet to give a cartoon bald guy hair or a mustache or a beard or eyebrows or whatever by dragging iron particles around. As you can clearly see, adding up the sheer amount of particles available to be dragged by the magnet does not tell you everything you need to know about the resolution of Wooly's Wooly Willie's beard. No record head magnet can separately target individual molecules of iron oxide and pull on just this molecule and not on that molecule. Therefore, the molecules are not the unit of resolution, not even close. There will always be some stuff where it doesn't belong, always be some stuff missing where it does belong. You don't get a clean edge. That's analog in a nutshell. People are entitled to prefer the fuzziness, but they are not entitled to tell lies about accuracy. Now, that's a nice one. I mean, that's a very good way to put it. And when you're talking about, see, you shouldn't really use that word resolution. Sorry, but when you don't have enough bits, you get something called quantization error. And that error shows up as noise. And you can do this yourself. You can take a pretty good sounding file and decimate it, or whatever you call it, where you make it, reduce the bit rate. Go from 24-bit or whatever to 16-bit to 8-bit to 4-bit. And what you're going to hear is a lot of noise. But you're still going to hear the signal in that noise. So it's more important to think about this as signal to error or signal to noise. I think it's signal to error is more correct for digital. But even on the analog tape recorder, your signal to noise is somewhere in there. And you can actually get a better signal to noise ratio on digital than you can on analog. So if we're going to talk about resolution in that way, digital wins hands down. So anyway, it's kind of sad to see kind of nonsensy kind of crap from this. Let's see. So a couple posts more. So, one of the true believers here has answered, gonna use this one to comment. ATR magnetics, load of crap. Oh, okay. Have any of you ever done an album on tape mastered to acetate? I have. Roger Seibel I think they had a Neumann cutting lathe over there at SAE. And sure enough, we would take 2-inch and mix it to 1/2 or 1/4 inch, and Roger would cut an album. Because I have spent the last 11 years using PT Logic, etc., to research what I comment about here. And I have recorded a lot of analog in professional capacity all over the world. Doesn't mean I know what I'm talking about. It just means logically none of you do. Why? Logically, none of we do. Why? Because we use the same stuff? To reference the OP thread, you are a bunch of people who have never eaten anything but fast food, speculating that fresh-made food could never be as good as fast food. Takes too long, costs too much. Sounds like the argument for DAWs. Or maybe since fast food is repeatable, kind of like automation. I am sure none of you will get the point, which is my point. So yeah, poison the well, take your ball, run away, go home, whatever. Sorry, we can measure this stuff, and we can speak about how it works. So, blah on you, and especially blah on ATR. Shame on you. Okay, so you guys may or may not know, we had a band program here. We were putting together like little kids who ended up dominating. Man, they did really good. And since the unmentionable word happened, we really haven't been doing shows. Some of our kids graduated; they're off to college, so we need more bands. And I am forcing myself to build up a new PA, small PA for shows. You may remember way back when we were testing the Reaper Live system. Way back in the day, they played through a computer. All the kids had to know how to set up a computer, the PA, all the stuff. We ran through Reaper, handled everything. But now I'm probably, I did buy an XR18 right before this stuff hit, and probably going to base it around that. So, actually, if you guys that are on Instagram, you can look behind me. I got a bunch of the PA speakers sitting here. I gotta go figure out where I'm going to put all this stuff. But I was looking, Behringer was still showing their 4.59 drivers. So still crap. No fix after 2 years. I think that the problem, you may know a lot of the Behringer USB, if you use it as an audio interface. The ASIO worked okay, actually. As typical Thesicon USB drivers, not super bad. But if you weren't using ASIO, if the regular Windows driver model was only showing 2 channels out of the 16 or 18 that the thing could do. Luckily, somebody on the XR18 Facebook users group found the older drivers, and he said that he was getting eight channels to work. Not that actually that I'm going to be using this as an audio interface, but it's just sad that, you know, after all this time, they wouldn't fix that thing. And I'm kind of thinking, you know, it's kind of maybe, maybe abandonware, you know. I mean, but then I asked, what are you guys replacing this with right now? And there really wasn't anything. There's an Allen and Heath that we talked about last week. But really, the XR18 and the Midas MR18, they seem like it. And I couldn't find an MR18 on Guitar Center, so I'm wondering if they've discontinued that one. I mean, it could be abandonware. But luckily, you know, like those guys were saying, you still use the XR18, still good. The older driver will work if you really want to do the USB thing. It seemed to anyway. At least you would get 8 channels, I think, out of it. I'm not sure if you were following along when we had the Midas M32, there was some V4 firmware, I think, that had a new type of input setup where you could customize your routing so much better. I never really got to try it, but it looked very handy. It might have been able to handle a little bit of the loopback type of thing that I needed it to do. I'd love to see loopback drivers in everybody's drivers. You hear me? Every audio interface maker out there, add some loopbacks. Add more than one pair of loopbacks. Add a couple. We still have a lot of trouble moving stuff around between Windows apps. You know that. So I don't know if those new kinds of inputs are there. Let's see. Guitar Center here was out of their Alto 15s, but they had some Alto 12s on sale, and these are the newer TS 312s. And we've talked about this before. I had nothing but an awesome experience with the older TS 210, 10-inch one, as a full-range flat response speaker for doing guitar modeling tests. And if you go on my website, so many of those bringing the studio to the stage articles, they were based on using that TS210. So I really loved that thing. So I figured, I'll get some more Altos. But unfortunately, like I said, they didn't have the 15s, but they had the 12s. And hopefully I didn't make a mistake by buying the 12s, but I think they're going to be good. Again, these got to be light enough, and they are very light. I mean, 10s weigh nothing, but the 15s I think were up at like 40 pounds, so I'm not sure. The 12s feel light enough that the little kids can carry them. I bought, I bought 2 TS 312s. I bought a pair of speaker stands with a bag. I got the TX 210s, which is the new like cheaper version of the Alto stuff. It's nowhere near as powerful according to the watts anyway, so it could be really crappy, but we'll find out. I bought those for monitors. If they don't work, we'll figure out something to do with them. They were cheap and they seem pretty good. Let's see, I might be getting a sub. See, before the kids had like a piece of paper, they would sign out the gear that they were taking. And I want to really put all this stuff together. I got to figure out a way to mark it, and I got to figure out some kind of bag or box to put all the loose stuff in. Let's see, I bought, what did I buy? I might be getting a sub, but we'll see. That's actually why this thing is titled the way it is. I did read and watch some videos, and thanks to the Facebook group, the XR18 Facebook group, about using one of the aux outputs on the XR18 as a sub output, and how to gang it with the master fader if you want, using a DCA, or you could do it in other ways. But most of these subs, I don't know I know this is the cheap way to do it, and you lose a little bit of control, but most of them have that kind of like its own crossover. You plug your main signal into the sub, and then it has like a high pass filter or whatever to send out to your other speakers. I might do that, so I don't know, or just use the controls in the XR18. What I was surprised about was people are saying the EQ on the XR18 isn't good enough to use as a crossover. That seems strange to me. I'm gonna take a better look at that. Yeah, hopefully the 12s are good. I also got one of those El Cheapo digital reference drum mic packs. It seems, where is that thing? Where is it? So if you are watching, oh well, I don't know where it is. It seems quite similar to that. If you ever seen the video I made of that $100 Pile mic set, it was a drum mic set. It's pretty good. Had a kick mic, 4 clip-on mics, and 2 little pencil condenser mics. And I made a couple videos because people were like, "Oh, it's got to be total crap," and they sounded. I got the drums sounding pretty damn good. Go watch those on pipelineaudio.net, I think. Anyway, these were a little bit more expensive, but I'm pretty sure they're the same. They'll probably be just as good, much to the chagrin of the cork sniffers out there. I ordered 3 of the updated versions of those Rapco DB100s or whatever that tested so well in our DI test. If you remember, I did a test of apples-to-apples test, noise, distortion, frequency response of a pile of DIs, and there was this cheap Whirlwind or whatever. It's like a $30 or $40 DI, and it held on with the best of them. So I ordered 3 of these. It's the DB1 Rapco Horizon Direct Box, but they make another one that is just pretty much this exact same name. Like, where is it? So this one was like $30. Let's see, Proco, Rapco cables, accessories. Is this a DI? Professional devices, Proco devices, direct boxes. Okay, here we go. So that was the DB1 direct box. See, this one is also cool. So that was the DB-1, and this one is also called DB1. And I'm wondering if this one is more like my old one, but this one costs $160. I wonder what the difference is. You know, you look at the specs, they look the same. I don't know. But we got 3 of them. If they suck, I'm sure they'll still find a use for something, and we shall see. So I got 3 of those. Yeah, I got to figure out how I'm gonna package this so that everything works out well. And cross your fingers. I gotta find the players. There's the demographics of where I'm living have very few kids of this sort anymore, which is kind of scary. So making a band is gonna be a little bit tricky. And I'd like to make several, but you know, some of our bands are regrouping, and we'll see what happens. But you know, I bought this stuff, so I'm going to force myself to get these bands going. I've been bummed the last couple of years not having the kind of bands I had before, the kind of shows, and it helped bring stuff to the school. So for us, AIX DSP, we just released the Dynamic EQ. Go grab it. Let me know if you have any issues. Well, you know how we are. We'll fix them as soon as we possibly can. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. You can go watch some videos on it or whatever. But it's it's our take on the Dynamic EQ. It's got decramp filters, so you know you don't have to get paranoid about cutting or boosting at the higher frequencies. It's got a full featured compressor per band, and I mean by full, I mean there's a hold control on there. You can use look ahead if you want. 0 latency for real time use when look ahead's not on, of course. Upward and downward expansion. So, you know, in case you don't like the way multiband gate works as a single unit, you can kind of do something similar with this. You could debleed your cymbals a different way. It has a hold control. So you can really, I mean, hopefully you know why you will need a hold control. It's got a defeatable soft or hard output limiter, and we put the FU Glen mode in. You may or may not need this thing, but we're putting that in all our compressors. That's one of Glen's videos where he showed running an out of phase signal or our polarity switch signal with the compressor to pull some gate tricks. You may or may not use it. It's kind of gimmicky, but the EQ itself is awesome. So go grab it. go grab the demo anyway. And let's see, is the demo link up yet? Ooh, it's not. I'll get that on there as soon as we can. If not, just ask me directly and I'll send you the demo. And we are going to have our multi-band gate out imminently. And thanks to Jason Zadora, if you saw his video, we're adding his suggestions. So I think you guys are going to be excited about that. And with that, that's about all I got for tonight. And I'll see you guys next week if you don't see me ranting about something else on YouTube Live or something this week. So this has been evidence-based audio education number 120, and that was JBL, our Goopers. See you later. Okay, Instagram, I'll see you guys later. I have no idea how to stop this thing. How do I stop this thing? I just hit the X. Was that delete it? I don't know what that does. And now... What are you doing? Hear what?
I was reading.
Oh.
Okay, so you'll be home soon?
Yeah, did you see what I sent you on Instagram?
No, I didn't see anything.
I forget what it was. Alright, well, yeah, I'll be home soon.
Okay,
I love you too.
bye.
Right. But so this is looking good. Okay, so welcome to evidence-based audio engineering and education, I guess. Number 120, and this is JBL, our Goopers.